announce them. Greatly appreciate it. Call votes of Massena Board of Trustees meeting for May 17, 2016 to order. Roll call, Mr. Offal.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Carvel. Here. Mr. Shays.
Here.
Mr. Revere. Here. I'm here. Entertain a motion for the approval of the April 5th, 2016 minutes. Mr. Revere and Mr. Shays, discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Entertain a motion for approval of minutes for April 11, 2016 meeting. Mr. Offel. Second by Mr. Revere. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Entertain a motion for approval minutes for April 12, 2016. Mr. Offel, second by Mr. Shays. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Entertain a motion for approval of meeting minutes for April 14, 2016. Mr. Offel. Mr. Revere, discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Reports of officers and committees. Treasurer report. Ms. Charlotte.
I've provided you with the balance sheets and revenue expense actual budget comparison reports for the month of April, and a summary of the 5 major funds is shown in your report. Year-end projections containing actual figures through April 2016 for those same major funds have been submitted to each of you as well as the department managers. Sales tax received in the county this month was in the amount of $393,154.31. This compares to $414,325.24 for the same quarter last year. Year to date, we have received $1,280,467.27. Last year at this time, we received $1,337,022.30. Therefore, we are down $54,555.03, or approximately 4.8% for the year. Projecting this trend forward over the fourth quarter, we have taken $1,712,224 for the fiscal year. We have budgeted $1,694,450.
Very good estimate.
I have attached to the report a sales tax revenue, just kind of show you the history of our sales tax over the past 25 years. The re-levy resolution that was approved at the April 19th board meeting was in the amount of $502,287.95. This was down $18,473.05 from the amount we levied last year, 3.5%. The St. Lawrence County Real Property Office is in the process of completing our tax roll. The final tax rates for the village of Massena, West Massena, and North Fork are $15.4639, $16.993297, and $18.85810 per thousand, respectively. During the month of April, we received $107,087.66 in reimbursement for expenses incurred
I didn't check the last year's numbers, but I do think pretty close.
Economic Development, Mr. Allen. Fire Committee, Mr. Carl and Mr. LeBear.
Nothing against that.
Anything, Mr. McDonough? Personnel Committee, Mr. Carl and Mr. Shays.
Tomorrow, nothing right now.
Police Committee, Mr. Carl and Mr. Shays.
That was the chief, just recently, I don't feel like it's right now, but,
Recreation Commission, Mr. Shays.
Yeah, indoor lacrosse is back down to arena, they came back, they got 6 to 8 games scheduled, and the first game is gonna be May 27th. Softball started 1st of May, all the leagues are going, and they're doing the repair to the field at Bushnell this year. Next year they're doing Alcove Field. A lot of bases are getting settled in, and they're really working up the ball fields pretty good. Good sign. And Mike has got a brochure, whatever, everything's gonna take place during the course of the year, and he's been putting a bunch of them together, and if we could distribute what's going on, which is a great idea. Nerf ball, June the 5th, we're gonna have another Nerf ball, that seems to be catching on pretty good. And the kids have to bring their own helmets and knee pads, stuff like that, so it's a lot of fun, yes, it's really caught on. Ted Cott Fishing Day, which was the other day, they moved it from out to the Barnard, back over the Causeway, Wilson Hill, and figured it's a lot better place to go because there's more fish there. According to the report, Mr. Dexter. Thank you, sir, good report. And there are prizes for all the kids. They're looking for marquee, they wanted marquee, and they're looking for it, with donation, and trying to get a prize on it. Price is going anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000, and they're gonna kind of look for donations from different vendors around town to help out recreation. The Heritage Festival is gonna be June 10th, 11th, and 12th at the arena. The Shriner Circus is gonna be there May 22nd. 2 shows, one at 1, one at 5. And that's it.
Thank you. Street Committee, Mr. Uphold, Mr. LeBear.
I don't have anything to
And Water and Sewer, Mr. Uphold, Mr. LeBear.
Got a couple bids there, item I under the business.
Initial public comment period is always vast here, please. Seeing none, moving on to old business discussion, 204 East Orvis Street. You should have been provided in your package a timeline with best to keep track. I'll summarize it for you. There was a structure fire in 2012, November 16, at 204 East Orvis Street. 10/10/13 received complaint regarding overgrown brush there. That complaint was pursued. Noticed that the building was abandoned then. I'm not going to go through all these. On 8/27/2014, moving down, our attorney, Mr. McCarl, sent a certified letter indicating that it was a public nuisance violation that must be remedied. It was returned unclaimed in September 24, 2014. 10/27/2014, no response. We filed a summons and a complaint suing for the public nuisance. January 15th, Mr. Tyler failed to answer the complaint. Attorney McCarl made a motion for default judgment. April of 2015, Judge Demers grants the motion, issues the order for default judgment, authorizing the village to abate the public nuisance. May 4th, 2015, Code Enforcement Officer McGowan and Public Works Superintendent Fayad walked through the property located at 204 East Orvis Street. You should have seen that report quite some time ago. August 1, 2015, you recall Mr. Tyler was in attendance tonight. He was here, notified the trial was scheduled for February 26th, continuing the legal process that he had against his insurance company, and at that point we agreed to wait. A couple of weeks ago I asked the Code Enforcement Officer, Mr. McGowan, to reach out to Mr. Tyler to see the status of that. And the case was settled in the insurance company for the there. He does not have the money yet. States his property's up for tax sale in September. He's uncertain if the settlement is enough to repair or pay his back taxes. Further informed that he's on the road for the next 3 weeks and be looking to get some quotes upon his return. Mr. McCardle, was here if you have questions for him. Mr. Tyler, would you like to speak to us?
Yes, yeah, I do want to get a couple estimates on it, but I'm not quite sure if you guys are actually have possession of that property now or not.
We do not.
So it's still in my court to do something with it, is that correct? Yeah.
That's correct.
The insurance company and the judge and my attorney had negotiations, and I ended up getting like half of what I should have on the property. And you're right, I haven't received it yet, but I do want to get a couple of quotes on that, just to see if it's feasible to, to fix it up and make it livable. And if not, then another option, I was thinking, if I don't do that, maybe I can just turn it over to the fire department and let them use it for practice. Maybe that's a good option too, I don't know.
Mr. Tyler, what's your timeline then on getting quotes?
I intend on getting something into the free trader and something else, probably either by the end of this week or next week. I think I got told tomorrow for the free trader.
How long has your case been settled with the insurance company?
It was just before the court date, February, that they came to an agreement. I agreed to it, so.
So
And I've been on the
I'm going
road.
to try to summarize what you're saying, but if I'm incorrect, please stop me. So
Okay.
if you get quotes and they're too much, you're not going to do anything. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't make sense,
And then what's your intention?
Like I said, I can turn it over to the town or the village, let the fire department use it for practice, or whatever you guys think is good.
I understand that's no longer an option, correct?
Yeah, when superintendent and myself were in there, there was concern structural. So personally, I wouldn't be putting anybody in the building. That's just a safety issue.
Yeah, see, I thought structurally it was still sound, on the outside of it, it's just on the inside, and the wiring has gotta be replaced.
I wouldn't put anybody in there.
Have the taxes been paid, Mr. Tyler?
No,
No.
I had them all paid up to 2012, they're all paid up, and then when that happened, I'm kinda up in the air what's going on with the insurance and all this.
So you reached the settlement 3 months ago, approximately? February?
February, I think it was the 21st, because the court date was actually the 22nd, I thought it was.
2.5?
Yeah.
And you haven't gotten any quotes in that time?
No, I've been, on the road quite a bit, trying to make a living. It's twice as hard to work, it's twice as hard to make a living now, because the rates are down trucking. So I have to stay out and work a lot more, just to pay the bills.
What are the options? What's the recommendation?
The options are do nothing, and ends up going back to probably for taxes. Options are we have a summary judgment, we can remediate it, take it down, raise it. And I'll let the attorney jump in on that one.
Yeah, I mean, we have a court order that allows us to remediate the nuisance, which would be to, repair it or eliminate it. That court order also includes a provision about, judgment against the property owner for the cost of the remediation.
Okay.
So we have that. So the options as the mayor mentioned, would be to maintain the status quo, do nothing, or, put this court order into effect and do something,
So-
remediate it or.
When you say remediate, when that cost of remediation, we would bid out of the
Well, we get
the
just
entire amount or out of the judgment?
Now, the judgment, there's a provision in the court order that says that we are granted a judgment for the actual cost of removing and correcting the violations, plus a 50% additional surcharge for administering and supervising work.
Okay. But if it's more than the gentleman received in his judgment, then chances are we're going to be something has to be done.
Right, we have a judgment on record in the clerk's office.
I mean, I thought we made a very good faith effort back in September to let this go until February, and now we're finding out that in February. The only reason we know that that we got anything in February is because you had Mr. McGowan go over to talk to Mr. Tyler. So I don't have any hope that there's gonna be any movement if we wait until June, July, August, or next February. So my goal is to proceed with what the court order said we can do. We're not gonna meet again until June 21st.
Well, I can keep the grass and stuff mowed and everything on front. I mean, it doesn't look all that bad from the front, when
Is
it's
it mowed
mowed.
right now, sir?
Is it mowed right now?
Yes.
No, I just got back off the road.
Okay, well, could you have asked somebody to mow your grass? That's what I do when I'm out of town.
Well, yeah, I had the neighbor
Okay.
was doing it because he used my driveway all the time and
Okay.
he'd plow it and all that, so the neighbor uses the driveway. You know, so,
Trustee Alpha, will you make the motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
So your motion is to proceed with, I should word this correctly.
Do we know what we want to do exactly? Do we want to knock it down? Do we want to go and take a look at it?
I don't think it's,
Maybe to take the steps necessary to eliminate the public nuisance, or whatever that involves.
Right.
yeah.
Motion to take the necessary steps to eliminate public nuisance. That's a little pretty short.
can I make another comment before you guys do finish that?
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm gonna get the quotes, so if it's possible to fix it up, then I could do that. And on the other hand, instead of you guys having to spend any money, somebody could buy it for taxes for a little bit or nothing and maybe fix it up.
Yes.
Your second. Further discussion, Mr. Trustees? By resolution. Mr. Alpha?
Aye.
Mr. Cardinal?
Aye.
Mr. Deshaies?
Aye.
Mr. Revere?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
I'll say, so that means exactly what?
Our code enforcement department and our superintendent of public works will be meeting, come up with a solution, determination as to what has to be done there. We'll be
So
in
I don't
touch-
get a chance to fix it up.
We will be in touch with you when we determine what we're gonna do, let you know, to give you notice. But if you're gonna be disappearing because of work, you're gonna wanna leave me a contact number for my clerk.
The fireman called me, he's got it.
Okay?
Didn't he talk to you after he talked to me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Tyler.
Okay.
New business, discussion, social host law, Felicia Community Coalition. Felicia,
Hi.
welcome, thank you.
So I have some general information in regards to social host law, or social host ordinance. Essentially, what social host does is it makes adults who knowingly or unknowingly, as in they should have known because it's on their property, it's within their home. So it takes parents away, when parents are away from home, when their teens are hosting a party, if they know or should have known, they can still be held liable. Parents who are present, but say they don't know that they deny knowledge of drinking on their property, could be held liable. As well as owners or tenants of rural property, owners of vacant property. Anybody who knows or should have known can be held liable under a also provides incentives for hosts to be vigilant and to know what's going on their property. Encourages parents to prevent parties while they're away, if they're leaving their teenagers home alone. It can also essentially establish the village's first zero tolerance policy, saying we're not going to allow this here in our community. I have some local data that may help as far as this. Every year we do an adult survey. And I can tell you we also do every other year a youth survey. The youth survey, while I can't share specific data because that belongs to the school, I can tell you that, and this is throughout the county, youth are getting alcohol, marijuana, prescription drugs in their home. They have access to it at parties. They tell us that very openly. As far as the adult survey, 73% of adults, and this is from the 2015, we took it in November, there were about 300 participants here in the Massena community, said 73% said that they felt it was very easy for youth to get marijuana at a party. Over 70% of adults in our community said that they were concerned or very concerned about youth substance use here in the community. And I have some specific social host data from 2012, 2013, and 2014. We specifically in those years asked a question whether or not the adults taking the survey would support a social host ordinance, and agree or strongly agree. Essentially, the disagrees, it's easier to tell you that. The disagrees in 2012, 6.2%, 2013, 3.2%, and 2014, 2.2%. So very few people in the community disagree that there should be a social host law here. Do you have any questions on what that may be?
What are the laws in the books do right now?
There are some penal laws, like unlawfully dealing with a minor, those types of things. They tend to be a little bit more narrow than the social host law.
I guess I'm confused as to why are we enacting a law for underage drinking when we don't have the books on that? I mean, the drinking age is 21 already. So, what are the advantages of doing this? I mean, are we gonna lock, are the police gonna lock in somebody's house? And are you gonna arrest, are we gonna have somebody arrested because if they have a 19 or 20-year-old son or daughter that's home from work there having a glass of wine? I don't wanna get into any of that.
And most, I don't know the specific wording of the one that you have access to, but most, and the law in New York State is, it is illegal to provide alcohol to somebody other than your child, which would cover that, I believe. And as far as, you had asked about, the benefits, and essentially a social host law, it seems to be easier to charge somebody because you don't have to determine who provided the alcohol or who provided marijuana. It covers all substances.
Is there a success rate anywhere else? Like at any other local, I don't wanna go downstate, let's talk about St. Lawrence County, where else is it used? Or Franklin?
Right now I am unaware of another specific one. Franklin County doesn't have a prevention council for substances. Franklin County, as far as I know, does not have a coalition that addresses this, so I don't believe it's even on their radar. St. Lawrence County, it has been brought up at the county level several times. It has not, at this point, progressed anywhere. Countywide, they would prefer it be, dealt with in the villages.
So there's not a proposal of the law you would be looking for yet? There's just examples of?
There are examples. The closest example, and the one that the Massena example was modeled after, is from Portland County. So fairly, you can at least
would certainly be open if there's an unmet need that's not being satisfied in the current laws. So perhaps if we have a more finalized version of what we're looking for and a little clearer understanding of exactly what would be advantageous over current existing laws. And then also I would be very, very interested in looking at the unintended consequences, kind of what Trustee Hoffeld was alluding to, of are we getting into the weeds in terms of, you know, overreaching on what may not be something we need to get involved with. So,
And that's precisely what we're looking for tonight, was to bring the concept to the trustees to see if either absolutely against it, in favor, or somewhere in the middle, and then rather than waste a lot of time and have the coalition and the chief work on, proposed legislation, get a flavor as to where you were on it.
I myself, I think this is very good because addiction starts in teenage years. I just watched a video on this the other day, and when it starts in the teenage years, since the brain isn't fully developed, it's totally different than if the person waits until they're in their 20s, until their body is fully developed. So being in those developmental stages, it affects that younger population a lot different than it affects those getting a little bit older.
Absolutely, and with alcohol prevention, the goal is not to prevent responsible adults, from having a drink responsibly. The goal is exactly what you just stated, pushing back that age of first use, because if somebody uses, and alcohol is the first substance to be used across the board, most of the time, and if a youth uses prior to the age of 15, they are 5 times more likely to develop an addiction later in life because of brain development. The brain doesn't fully develop actually until the age of 25.
So that's why, I'm sure this, if we can keep this away from the children as long as possible, if this is another deterrent to keep this, since it's, I've talked to some of the political meetings, I'm talking to young kids from all corners of this state, and they tell me the same thing. Drugs and alcohol is available any time of the day or night, on the street corner of the community. And that community could be Edwards, New York, or it could be New York City. So it's going to be a big problem, and it's an epidemic problem. If we can, say, anything at all, try to delay, you said, that first use or that getting involved, I think it's very good. Do you have any idea of a final draft or something, along what you're looking, I mean, this is kind of rough, what you're looking for, do you have anything like a little bit more specific that you're working on to?
That's the rough draft that you have, and we can definitely tailor that a little bit more to make it more of a finalized draft, for sure.
I have copies of other counties that already enacted this, that will be utilized in regards to, we want to make it fit to the village of Massena. We want to make sure it's tailored to here. What happens in other counties may not happen here, so
yeah.
we'll be taking that data, asking them how it works, and that good stuff, and then we can fit it to fit the village of Massena, so.
It's a great cause to work for. And we just want to make sure that anytime we're passing any law, that we're addressing the unmet need, so I think everyone's, I don't want to speak for them, but I'm sure they're all on board in terms of the intent, but if, when we do have that more final draft, if we could just get some of the key elements of why we're doing it, so when the residents, the constituents say, hey, why'd you pass that law, we can say, but did you know, even though there's existing laws, this need was not being met by those existing laws, and now we'll be able to do this. So to be able to have that information handy to relay back to residents will be key.
Absolutely.
The way I look at it, I'm looking at the penalty fines. $100 dollars first time, not to exceed $250. Or a term of incarceration not to exceed 15 days. That is way, way out of line. We've got a police force here, and this thing here, this thing that's got out of hand, the police department should be involved. We'll back up our police department, whatever they do. But we can't come down and say this, this, and this, because everything's different, you don't know. Mother and father gone away, kids are home alone, bunch of drinking. People are gonna complain about it, and then that's when the police will get involved in it. Somebody files a complaint. But if you're gonna try to put it down in writing, it's pretty hard set as far as I'm concerned. And I raised 5 kids, and they weren't all angels either.
Well, that's gonna be where we step in, when we come in and we investigate, we come up that they violated this law, and that's when they're issued a terrorist ticket. These are just stipulations that the judge has to look at. So if they are found guilty or they plead guilty, then this is what could happen to them.
So it's not set in writing.
That's right, they'll have that option, so A, B, and C. It could be they get A, they get B, or they could get A and B. So it's up to the judge, the discretion, and that'll all be when we do our paperwork. So those are just the parameters that the judge will have to look at.
It's also been suggested, I think, with the first idea that in lieu of a fine, some type of taking a class or some type of special education, so giving the judge options instead of fining somebody
Yeah,
perhaps.
that makes sense, yeah.
Well, it seems like every year, we have a young person in this community that gets a hold of alcohol somewhere and ends up in a car wreck and dies. Tragedy, it's year after year after year. If this prevents one person, I think it's all worth it.
And I think the other thing is, this is kind of like a piece of everything that the coalition is working on, so this is just one of those prevention pieces, and then there's an aggressive public education campaign, and then with other things that they're working on too. So you'll work together?
May I ask you a quick question?
You may, Mr. Chair.
I just have 2 quick questions. First, what is alcohol?
Alcohol is, it's powdered alcohol. It's essentially if you were to have like an MRE or a dried meal, it's alcohol in that form. You mix it with water.
Oh, okay. I never heard of it.
It's not being marketed here right now. There's been a lot of talk of it over the past 2 to 3 years. The chances of it coming down the line are likely, but it hasn't yet.
Okay. And my other thing was, when you're talking about the language, I would think that the final language, a statement like knows or should have known is a little nebulous, a little subjective. Somebody's having a graduation party and their driveway is full of cars, and somebody has a bomb in their car and they sneak out and have a drink. You know what I'm saying? So when you put the language in known or should have known, it's really open to interpretation, and that might be a little too subjective, I think, when you do the final language, that's all. Just a thought.